What's up, guys? It's DDP. Back into the flow of another hectic week. This is recorded as I'm headed to Megsy Go for a test stream today for some Maverick stuff, a couple weeks down the road. But I wanted to get out something for the Cowboys Thanksgiving game. Just give you kind of my thoughts on that because it's a short week. Cowboys turn around and play the Saints on Thursday Night Football, so that'll be tough. But here we go. So, obviously the win for the Cowboys puts them back at 6-5. First time getting over 500. Really, is it this year in general? Might be this year in general. But, first place in the NFC East. That's something. That's at least some significance because with the Redskins injuries, Alex Smith being out and some of the other injuries they've had, most notably along that offensive line, you have a chance to steal the division now because they're going to fall off. I fully believe that. And even the Eagles are stumbling, so the NFC East is ours to have at this point. But we got business that we got to take care of course. Some notes for the game. Dak Prescott throws for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also rushes for a touchdown on a beautiful, beautiful scramble. You had Zeke going something like 26 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown as well. That was huge. And, when Zeke is making guys miss more in the last few weeks. Like, I saw the stat, and I don't have it up in front of me, obviously, because I'm driving. But Zeke had, in the first, the first 7 games of the year, he had, 17 forced missed tackles. And in the last few weeks alone, he's surpassed that number already. It's 19 in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So Zeke is doing work, and he's giving this offense an added boost. I feel like he's running harder and angrier, but it's also the offensive line play. It's Su'a-Fila being in there instead of Connor Williams. At this point, I know I was reluctant after one game to hand over the reins to Su'a-Fila for the rest of the year, but I'm not anymore. Connor Williams could have played after that first game. He's available now, but you got to work with what's going, and there's no doubt Su'a-Fila is having a better performance right now at the guard position than Connor Williams was. So I still got a lot of faith in Connor Williams as a prospect, but you got to work with what's working. You got to go with what's working for you. So Zeke is more effective. That changes the dynamic of the offense. The presence of Amari Cooper cannot be denied. Since he came over, Dallas is 3-1. The one loss being that initial game against the Titans. And man, this was the Amari Cooper game. He goes 8 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. A 40-yard touchdown catch and run and a 90-yard touchdown catch and run. And the thing is, I know that Raider fans say that he's got these big games that he'll throw out every now and then he largely goes quiet. We're going to have to see if that's the case. Obviously, his numbers up until now had been kind of ho-hum. The first game, I think he had 63 yards and a touchdown against Tennessee. And then he had a game against the Falcons. He didn't do a whole lot. I think he was 3 for 35 or something. So that is possible. That certainly could be the case. But I also think you got to consider the fact that Dak is not a pure pocket passer, and the simple fact that the guys have been playing together for just over a month. It has not been a lot of time to develop a real chemistry. So you got to see what you got. And games like he just had, where he breaks tackles, he goes, you could say the first one, the 40-yarder, was the cornerback slips because of his route, and then he just accelerates past literally the entire Redskins team. That's legit. Fair point. But the 90-yarder, that's just him going up and being a man. Going up, taking the ball away from right where the defenders are, breaking away, and then outrunning them again. And that's just something that Dallas hasn't seen in a long, long time. I'm not saying obviously Dez broke tackles, and obviously Dez could high point a ball, but he wasn't the crisp route runner, and he didn't have breakaway speed generally. So it's definitely something to consider for Cooper, and as he has performances like that, he's going to earn more and more trust from Dak Prescott, and I think you're going to see Dak be more willing to take some chances down the field to Cooper if he feels like he can get him the ball. So that's something you absolutely have to look forward to if you're a Cowboys fan. And it's just a matter of them continuing to build on that chemistry. As for the defense's note, The difference in this game, I felt like, obviously Colt McCoy throws 3 interceptions in relief and could have had a 4th one. But man, oh man, holding Adrian Peterson to 12 carries for 35 yards, that's 2.9 in average. Now, I know Adrian Peterson, by running back years, is like ancient, but he's been very good this year. And in the first matchup, he pretty well carved up the defense for Washington. I think maybe he went over 100 yards in that game, but he was a force in that game. So to hold him down like this was massive for Dallas. And you can say part of that's aided by Alex Smith not being there, the passing game not being necessarily as good for the Redskins as it would have been with Alex Smith. Maybe. But, you know, Alex Smith isn't a guy that's going to stretch you vertical very much. He's a very color within the lines kind of quarterback. He won't take a lot of chances or be risky with his moves or decision making. And, you know, Washington doesn't have an elite set of wide receivers either. I think even in the first matchup, the argument could have been made Dallas has just as good, if not better, receivers, and that was before the Cooper trade. So it is what it is, but Dallas's defense came to play. They forced 3 turnovers in the game, which, by the way, is more turnovers than Philadelphia has forced on the season since like week 2 or something I saw, which is insane in its own right for sure. But this defense came to play, and other than the tight ends, no one really got the better of them. Obviously, they had the one huge play, the 50-yard touchdown to Vernon Davis, I believe it was. And Jordan Reed got some plays as well where he ended up with like 60, 70 yards. Good game out of both their tight ends, but that was really all they had going for them. The running game wasn't working for them the way they wanted it to, and the receivers weren't making a lot of plays. It was basically career backup quarterback Colt McCoy, and the tight ends beat you, and Dallas didn't let them. Dallas wins the game 31-23, and really, you know, even then, Washington gets a late touchdown that kind of muddies the water, really. Dallas dominated this game in the second half. Second half, they figured out some things, and it was just scoring drive. You know, you had the Cooper 40-yard and 90-yarders, I want to say, on back-to-back drives, or maybe it was like one drive in between. But it's been a few days now, so my memory's not quite as fresh on this. But this moves Dallas into first place in the NFC East. They have still a matchup with the Eagles and a matchup with the Giants on their slate. They play Philadelphia at home, and the Giants, they'll have to go to New York. The Giants just last night, the Giants still have Eagles. That's right. I was getting my weeks crossed up. Giants play them now, this week. So you got that set up. And again, keep in mind when I'm recording this, it's on a Saturday, Sunday. Holidays mess up my week, man. Regardless, you have a big matchup in the NFC there. I think the Giants can certainly be had. It's just a matter of making sure that you're in control of your own destiny still at that point. And I think Dallas will be. I think things are coming together for them enough where they can make the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, the Cowboys would be the 4 seed. So something to consider there. It's just you got to see what you're able to do and how you can continue to execute and grow. My only fear with this 3-game win streak now is, what does this mean for the future of Jason Garrett? If it's me personally, I tell you, at bare minimum, if he wants to keep his job, not just win a playoff game, not just make the playoffs, you got to get to the NFC Championship game. And even then, me personally, I probably still really take a look at getting rid of him. I don't think he's the answer to any of this. I think the team is just talented enough and good enough and executing well enough that they don't need him. It's not something where playoffs are when he usually gets exposed for not being a better coach or a better game planner and all of that. So it doesn't mean much to me to see Dallas make a playoff run. And by run, I mean like a run to the playoffs for him to keep his job. But we'll see what happens. I still have very significant questions about this team, but they're showing me a little heart and a little grit, and that's more than we saw for a while. So see if they can keep building on it. Again, short week. They got the Saints on Thursday Night Football again. Just the other day, on Saturday, wrapped up a Cowboys experience again with Law Nation, Voch Lombardi. We got to talk with Jeff Heath, with Rod Smith, and with Joe Looney. That was a lot of fun as well. I mostly worked behind the scenes on that. I was kind of operating the camera and doing some of the equipment stuff for them, but I still talked with the players. I'm just kind of, I should have been more on camera for that. I don't think any of the clips we have recorded, or other than like, you know, Voch's phone maybe live streaming, have me actually talking to the players. So that's on me. I got to be better on that for giving Prospect better content. But in the meantime, those are my thoughts on the Thanksgiving game. Cowboys win 31-23, move to 6-5 on the year. Now they got to play the 10-1 Saints, or 9-1. I think 10. They'll be 10-1. I think they're gonna win this week. But they got that on their slate, and hey, think of it this way: I think the Saints, if they are 10-1 at that point, they will be on their second longest win streak in franchise history. Their longest was in 2009, when it was a 13-game win streak to start the year. And who ended that win streak? Oh yeah, it was the Cowboys. Right, yeah. So, something to think about, food for thought. I think Dallas there's certainly a way in which the Cowboys can win this game, but a lot of it's going to be predicated on the defense. And we'll see, man. Cooper's got to be Thanksgiving Day Amari Cooper again, but I think there's certainly a formula in which the Cowboys can pull the huge upset. But that's all my time for this video, guys. Stay tuned as well. I'm going to get you some college football talk, wrap up the crazy OU West Virginia game, and some other stuff like that in the Big 12. Talk a little bit about the Big 12 championship game as well, and we'll go from there. But until next time, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.